Hello, my name is Philip Totaro. I'm the founder and CEO of market research firm IntelStor. Welcome to your weekly dose of truth to power. Truth to Power examines data driven insights for the energy sector with a focus on renewables. On this week's episode, I'm going to provide an analysis of the smokescreen that the US government is running on renewable energy and what the industry can do about it. By now, we've all seen the news about offshore wind projects in the USA. Projects having construction permits pulled, port infrastructure projects, which are already under construction, having grant money pulled. Frankly, I'm not going to make it a point to catalog every single outrageous thing that the US administration is doing wrong here, or at least incredibly unprofessionally. What I do want to talk about is how the industry can fight back. When governments behave like the US administration is choosing to behave towards the $1 trillion renewable energy industry in the USA, it doesn't really provide confidence to investors who expect a return on their investments. When governments choose to subsidize key industries like energy, it is to help propel their economies into a position of global dominance. How is America now a dominant global power in energy if you frankly have to bully foreign governments and even US state governments into buying natural gas that they don't want, they don't need, and they can't afford? When you make up nonsensical reasons to cancel the construction permit of a project like Ørsted's Revolution Wind, it reeks of a hypocritical smokescreen that's destroyed global energy investor confidence in the USA, and not just for renewable energy, across a lot of different industries. To suggest that any one offshore wind project has security concerns that would be equally weighed and equally shared by all other projects is such a clear and frankly very poor lie. In the meantime, Ørsted and their partner Skyborn Renewables, which is owned by US investment house BlackRock, they've spent more than $4 billion on construction to date, as well as tens of millions on the lease auction in the first place. When you cancel the construction permit for the project, you're damaging American jobs, American tax revenue, and the majority of the major subcontractors on the project, almost half of them have a US based subsidiary which employs mainly US citizens and green card holders. When you engage in this hostile and deliberately antagonistic behavior, there are consequences. These consequences have already manifested themselves, like more than the $50 billion in capital that would have been spent in the USA over the past 7 months, that's now made its way to the UK, Canada, Poland, Denmark, and Germany. For someone who seems keen to portray himself as an expert businessman, that's not so clever, is it? The offshore wind industry in the USA was poised to be a $1 trillion industry all by itself by 2035 if investments in port infrastructure and projects were allowed to continue and claim investment tax credits and manufacturing tax credits. But we also saw last week that the U.S. Transportation Secretary has pulled the plug on more than $679 million in port infrastructure improvements, including more than $75 million on projects that have already started construction, and the port owners and contractors are now going to get stiffed on millions of dollars in expenses that they were expecting to have been subsidized by the US government. And while they're busy pulling the plug on all these things, if the 3.5 gigawatts of offshore wind farms that have already been consented or are in the queue in the US Northeast to be built, if that had been done, it would have actually saved ratepayers $400 million last year. Bottom line is, when governments choose to spend money to support the growth of a strategic industry, it unlocks private investment. It serves to de-risk an industry that is the wave of the future, and one that, frankly, we don't want to lose out to China's global dominance. Since the inception of the production and investment tax credits, more than $160 billion of U.S. taxpayer money has been committed by the government over the past 32 years. That has unlocked more than $250 billion in CapEx for onshore wind energy project development in the USA, as well as more than $100 billion in capital investments for domestic production of wind turbine components. It's also unlocked more than $300 billion in capital in solar project development, as well as factories to produce racks and electrical equipment. Energy storage is already a $65 billion and growing industry, according to IntelStor. And now the Department of Agriculture has also canceled the program that funds farmers in the USA to install wind and solar. That program spent more than $1.6 billion since inception and was projected to spend more than $2 billion in the next 10 years alone. Now, hardworking farmers in the USA who've spent money on renewable energy systems to back up their critical agriculture equipment are getting stiffed on their reimbursements. So it seems to me like this president is the world's most incompetent businessman. And I hope that the people who claim to be leading this industry, the industry trade associations and lobby groups, stand up to this bully at some point. I'm certainly doing my part. We can't live in fear of retaliation. We need to fight back and call the administration out for their hypocritical nonsense. We won't be quiet. We won't be shoved in the corner. Renewable energy contributes to the USA and to the rest of the world to the tune of trillions of dollars. Any smart businessman would be on board this train because it's leaving the station. Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Philip Totaro, and this has been your weekly dose of truth to power. Follow us on IntelStor's YouTube channel as well as your favorite audio platforms. And visit www.intelstor.com to join more than 200,000 subscribers to our renewable energy data solutions. A full analysis of the renewable energy market in the USA is available to subscribers. And you can register today for the next Wind Summit event in Houston, Texas this October. Visit www.windsummit.org and join hundreds of your industry colleagues from companies like NextEra, EDPR, EDF, Pattern Energy, Clearway, Apex Clean Energy, and more. We hope to see you there.